James McPake, how close is he to returning to first team duties?
Yeah, he's done a small bit of training this morning, so we're hopeful, but again, he is still a little bit sore, so I would say at this stage it's probably 50-50, to be honest.
Is it a difficult kind of injury to manage, because I guess it stems from that serious problem that he had back at Coventry?
Yeah, I don't think it's not a serious injury. It's just he's had a bit of muscle spasm in his back, and it just takes time for it to ease out. So it's just important that we get him, properly fit rather than take any risk with him. Because the last thing we want to do is obviously lose him long term. So it's about playing the game right and making sure that he is fit to play when we put him back in the team.
We mentioned back in the summer about the player recruitment drive. The emphasis was on quality rather than quantity. Do you feel that we have now found ourselves slightly stretched, particularly in defence, or have you been pleased with the way that the squad's kind of reshuffled around?
No, I think if you take last week out, which is a performance from everybody that wasn't up to standard, to be honest. But the week previously, where we had to change the back four, I thought the back four were fantastic against Dundee United. So we knew that we were going to have a stage of the season where we're going to get tested because of the numbers we have. We don't have the money to get loads of players in. It's as simple as that. So we've got to. We've got a good squad there. I've said that previously, that we've got players that can go and fill in different areas, and that's been proven over the last couple of weeks.
What's the latest with Tim Clancy as well? Because he seems to have been the forgotten man to a certain degree because of that groin injury. He's been out of the team. How close is he to returning?
He won't be available for this weekend, to be honest. We sent him away down to England to see a specialist to see. There's a few options that we can take with the type of injury he has, and responded a little bit to rest and treatment, but not as much as we would have liked. So we're obviously looking at a couple of different options now to see how we can get to the bottom of it and make sure he's available as quick as possible.
Gary Deegan, though, I believe there's some good news there about Deegs. Is he back in full squad training now?
He's not back in. He was in the hospital today, so he's been given the all clear to get back training. He'll probably have 4 or 5 days non-contact, just getting him back in, getting his lungs working again, and getting some weight back on him as well. He's lost a little bit of weight, but holding Deegan back will be the challenge for us now. I think he's really keen to get back training, but we've got to make sure the doctors are delighted with him and he's made big progress. So I'd say maybe in the next 10 days we should see him back into training with the squad as well.
Is he finding it difficult to breathe at all because the fact that he can't properly open his mouth?
Yeah, he was, and that was the reason obviously why he couldn't do a lot of training, but now that's all resolved and he's been given the all clear to go and do that. So he's again, it's slowly. With Gary, he probably wants to do everything quickly, but he was back in today in the afternoon after being in the hospital, and he's walking away with Frank in relation in the gym and fitness work. So that'll be a progress, and as that progresses in relation to that type of fitness work, we'll then get him out onto the park and then gradually get him back into a group session.
Well, so you know him very well. How's this setback affected his character? Because he's quite a feisty, dynamic, kind of energetic guy. I presume he would have been absolutely devastated by what's happened. Has it affected him in terms of his confidence? I
don't think Gary's lets things like that affect him. I think it'll have the opposite on him. He'll have a drive and a desire probably more than he had, and that's difficult to be able to do that, because that part of his makeup is fantastic, but he's just itching to get back playing. He's a professional footballer that hasn't been able to do anything for a number of weeks and a number of months now, so it's difficult for him. But I think in relation to that side of his game, I don't think that will change.
Obviously the financial results were published earlier on in the week, which wasn't great reading by any stretch of the imagination, and obviously it's a symptom perhaps of the current climate and the fact that the team perhaps has underperformed over the past couple of years. But what's your message to supporters? Everyone's saying, look, let's dig deep, let's try and find the funds to keep the likes of Lee Griffiths, Jorge Claros and also Ryan McGivern on board, but do you feel that the supporters have to come through the turnstiles in order to make that a reality? Or was the emphasis on the players to win the games in order to get them back in? It's a chicken and egg syndrome.
It is, yeah, and I think it's important as well to recognise that although the debt is big, it's not as big as a lot of other clubs, and it's also fairly well structured, and probably a lot of it is down to the fact that we've probably got the best infrastructure outside of Celtic Rangers within the game in Scotland, i.e. fantastic stadium and a fantastic training centre. So the money's being spent wisely. The thing now is to stop losing money on a yearly basis, and I firmly believe, like you say, the only way to do that is to turn the results around. We've lost probably that income of being able to sell players on over the last few seasons, which we had for a long time, where we've sold a lot of players from the club, and that's financed a lot of things. But at the moment we need to make sure you can ask supporters to come to games, and you can. But if you're winning football matches, supporters will come back, as being proven this year. And if you continue to do that, well, then you're hoping over a longer period of time that the financial results are better because of that. If we can add 1 or 2 players that we can move on, that helps even more. So it is a chicken and egg. But I think, the results over a 2-year period haven't been good enough. And it's very difficult to point a finger at anybody else bar what happens on the park. And that's what we've got to do, is make sure that the team that's on the park is competitive on a weekly basis. And like we said from the start, we're not going to win every week, and there will be blips. But I think the supporters have seen that it's a work in progress. But the players are determined and work really hard for each other and for the club. Every time we take to the park. And that's important that continues, and I think you've gradually seen people coming back to support a club that haven't been back for a while, and we've got to continue to do that. But that's all about getting results on the pitch.